Yes, here we are for an info session on the Turtle Island Bioregional Congress. And we'll start off slow to welcome people in and allow people to arrive. We had lots of people that wanted to join us today. Thank you to all of you who are here. Stephen, good to see you. Yes, lots of familiar faces as always. Yay. Um, People want to share in the chat while they're arriving, what bioregion you're coming from, if you're registered or just thinking about it, um, or if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat anytime. But it'd be great to get a sense of who's here, and we'll get started in a minute. Okay, so I think we'll have folks trickling in, but I want to get started because there's just so much we can share, and then I want to have lots of time for conversation and questions. Um, I think what we're gonna do is I can share a little overview about the Congress and what it's all about for people that are less familiar. And we will share about the site, we will share about program. We have more updates about program to share today, um, logistics, goals, and how everyone can get involved beyond just attending, because this is a co-creative event. Congressing is a verb. Okay, so um, begin by introducing myself. My name is Claire Brodeur. I'm one of the co-organizers. I am based in the Sierra Nevada foothills bioregion of Northern California, Sierra Miwok land. I'm a land steward and a mother, and also a technologist, and I work on high-low. So if you've been in the high-low space, that's my day-to-day project. And I am joined today by Lily on the organizing team. Lily, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah. Hey, thanks, Claire. Hi, everybody. I'm Lily Falconer. I am also one of the co-organizers of this Congress and joining from the Sonoma Valley and the San Francisco Bay Delta bioregion, ancestral homelands of, well, the intersection of ancestral homelands of Southern Pomo, Coast Miwok, and Wapo people. I grew up here and moved back after 20 years of meandering, and it's been really sweet to be here and also do this work connecting with other people in their bioregions. Um, and yeah, just happy to be here, and I'll be monitoring the chat and helping Claire answer any questions.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen for just a little bit of a presentation. Not too much of a monologue, I hope. And for some of you, this may be a bit of a recap, but it's good to get us all on the same page. So we will be gathering September 15th through 19th in Vernonia, Oregon, which is an hour northwest of Portland. And we will be at an amazing place called Camp Cedar Ridge. Um, Here we go. Okay, so this is the main organizing team, but we actually have some other members at this point. I need to update this because we've been joined by our site coordinator, Ashley Bond, who is an incredible Portland area event producer, as well as our Indigenous program director, Shai Hashimoto, who is also equally incredible with Haida and Tlingit heritage. She's from up in Washington, as well as European and Japanese ancestry. And so she's been stepping in and helping us with our Indigenous outreach. But then the rest of us here, we have Brandon from the Department of Bioregion Regenerate Cascadia. We have Bill from R 3.0 and Carrie, who is an independent researcher also associated with the Earth Loss Center. But she's writing her dissertation on this whole movement and is one of the major forces behind all of this coming together. But we also have a large, incredible team of advisors, and they're all on the website. So all of this is a really shared effort between a lot of different perspectives, Indigenous advisors, non-Indigenous advisors, people working in all aspects of regeneration are coming together to shape this gathering and make it something useful for all of us. I probably don't need to go too deeply into, what is a bioregion, and it's not a concept that anyone is laying claim to necessarily, but simply we're just operating with the general frame of this idea that we are all dependent on a shared landscape with the others in that landscape, human and more than human. And that is the region that we are called to care for as individuals and as communities. And a bioregion is defined by geographic formations, topography, hydrology, but it's also defined by how human society is organizing. And they are more of intersecting membranes than anything with like a hard boundary on a map, because that would be a colonial way of looking at things. But this is, I think, an inherently decolonial concept, and in fact, is a way of bringing all of human society back into remembrance, relationship, and reciprocity with the living world. So, those are some of the underlying things animating this. And there's a lot of history behind the Congress. The first one was in 1984, and there have been 10 previous Congresses. But it's actually been a little while since the last one, I think over 15 years. So we're rebooting this. It is needed now more than ever. And you can see in this graphic where some of the other ones have taken place all over Turtle Island, Mexico, Canada, all over the United States. Um, this will be the second time it's happening in Cascadia, which is cool. And who knows where it'll be after this. But yes, the time is ripe, and there's just a lot of movement and momentum behind this way of approaching our organizing and regeneration work in the world right now. So, our goals for the Congress, we hope to bring together around 300 folks. We have over 150 registered so far, so we're really on track with registration, but definitely trying to get the word out more. So, anyone who's coming, please share the word. And anyone who's on the fence, please join us. Your voice is absolutely needed in this conversation. We have three goals that are driving all of this. Why go to all this effort? Why go all this way? It's really important. So, number one, we need to build relationships across our movement. It's always really helpful to build these relationships, and especially to be face to face, because the magic that can happen and the depth of connection that can happen when we are in person together for a few days, you really can't match that. And those relationships can last a lifetime and really just benefit our efforts in ways we cannot even predict for years to come. So, just the magic of gathering in person. We will learn together. So, we're going to be exchanging skills, tactics, stories. We're going to learn from each other. Everyone coming has something to teach, and everyone coming has something to learn. And there will be so much space for you to give your teachings. And then finally, we can align on strategy. So we have the hope of developing a bioregional action toolkit that will come out of this. And that will be a shared prioritization across the people assembled to specify, like, what exactly do we want to work on as a movement? So those items might be we want to work on land back, we want to work on rights of nature, we want to work on watershed restoration, whatever those top things are. And then it'll be this document, really more like an action plan that anyone can take home to their home place and then start putting into practice. whatever elements of it feel relevant. No need to do all of it. But then as you start to implement some of those things, you will be doing that as part of a coordinated network across this whole continent. You will be in touch with the experts on those things, and you will be supported by everyone who is at the Congress as you're implementing these tactics in your home place. So it's just going to make our movement so much stronger. We're really trying to operationalize the bioregional movement with this and just kind of get more serious and rigorous with what we're doing. Um, Lots of fun stuff is going to happen at the Congress. And we'll show our schedule slide in a little bit, so I won't spend too much time here. Um, but there will be a lot of time in circle to be face to face with each other and to be in conversation with each other. So it's a lot more many to many dialogue than one to many presentations. There will be some curated presentations, but mostly there will be open space and opportunities for participants to be sharing and teaching and convening with each other. We will have group convergences that historically at the congresses were called plenaries, where everyone was in a conversation together to talk about, what was of the utmost urgency to discuss as a movement. And so that's where we'll be working on this bioregional action toolkit together and just identifying like what is most alive for us as a group at that time in that place. And based on what comes up in the convergences, we will collectively be determining the schedule for the next day. So our schedule is less strict and prescribed. It is much more responsive and adaptive to what all of us who are in the room together need it to be. And so that's why I say, like, your voice is needed. The voice of people doing important work on the land right now across this place is needed because that's going to dictate where we go, what we talk about, and what we prioritize for the future. But we'll also have lots of fun, and there will be movement and music and a really fun dance party, as well as elements of the sacred and spirituality are going to come into this. It's always been a part of the movement. Children are extremely welcome. There will be a village school kids track. I'm probably forgetting lots of other elements, like, yeah, just the arts in general. We have an incredible arts team that's putting together really cool stuff. So it won't, there's many ways in which this is not a conference, and that's one of them. Throughout the gathering, we hope to be really embodied, really grounded, and connecting in many different ways, not just like getting super heady, but able to be present with each other as humans. And in the past, the Congress space has been described as a ceremonial village. So, just to convey the sense of what we're trying to cultivate together, just a lot more human and organic. Okay, yes. So, a few words about our site. Look, I'm almost done. My monologue is almost over. Camp Cedar Ridge, it's a summer camp, and they have amazing gatherings all the time up in the cedar forest. So there's beautiful rolling hills, there's beautiful cedar forest, there's a creek, there's cute barns and spaces like that. There's a pool, there's going to be a slip inside. The site is really nice and just facilities as well. So if you're camping, there is, bathrooms, showers, everything you need. There are also some indoor accommodations which are available for purchase, which I think we have a few spaces left in those. Ranging mostly in the bunkhouses right now, which are bunk beds, super fun. And then people are also free to bring RVs and get an RV parking pass if that's how you roll. And we can answer anyone's questions about accommodations. Um, Camp Cedar Ridge also is our caterer, and they will be providing 3 meals a day during the Congress, and they source from local farms as much as they possibly can. So we'll be enjoying the treasures of the Willamette Valley, which is really special. And also just is so nice just to have that all covered for us. What a gift. Um, what else? yes. These are some pictures in rainy season. It will be a lot brighter and sunnier in September. But you can just get a sense for the lay of the land, just beautiful trees and nature and these lovely outdoor amphitheaters where we can gather. And we'll be putting up tents and cultivating all kinds of different little zones to hang out. Um, just a little map of the site. And we'll share all of the like site details. We're putting together our participant guide, so all of that will be communicated very thoroughly in due course. Um, that is what I wanted to share to start us off. And then later, Lily and I have another short few slides just about the schedule and ways that everyone can plug in and contribute if you're interested. But I want to just stop there for now and see if there are questions, comments, hot topics, anything that folks want to speak into the space or learn more about.
It seems like many people are interested in how they can contribute through work trade.
Hmm. Yes. Yes, I can talk about work trade. I'm managing the work trade among many things and the scholarships. Um, I have a number of work trade slots that are open. So I'm gonna be what I've been doing is as I figure out what those openings are, I've been reaching out to people on the work trade wait list. So if anyone here is not already on the work trade wait list, but you want to be, you can get on it still. And it's not a super onerous application. Um,
Do you want
but
me
let
to grab
me,
that link, Claire?
yeah, that would
I
be
can grab it. I'll put
amazing.
it in the chat in just a second.
Cool. Yes. So that's just an opportunity to, you can look and see like what the general needs are. And then it's a pretty quick little application. And then there are half trades where you get half off an early bird price ticket. So it's 250 off a $500 ticket, or a full trade, which is a free ticket. Full trade is about 20 hours of time in reciprocity, and then a half trade is about 10 hours. And there are some special slots I'm looking to fill. I definitely need someone with medical experience to help out in the wellness and safety, like med tent. Um, I could use someone with a big van who's interested in ferrying people around, maybe doing some airport pickups or shuttling elders around during the Congress. So those are some special ones, but otherwise, all the roles are on the website that Lily's posting. Um, yeah, and just like more registration help, more like parking direction, um, grounds keeping. It's mostly roles like that. Um, and then the timing can be flexible depending on when you're able to arrive and depart. I can match you to slots that work for that. Does that answer questions about work trade for now? Or any other questions about that? I know we have a lot of work traders present. Thank you so much to all of you. Um, I see a question about delegations. We'll definitely talk about that.
Let's address that right now. So,
Mhm.
we have a discount for delegations, and a delegation is a group of two or more people from the same bioregion. So it's a pretty pretty easy to
It's a
qualify
low bar.
as a delegation. And our discount is for the early bird pricing for the tickets, which is $500. Currently, the tickets are at 575, and at some point they will be moving up to 650 just as we get closer to the event, just to try to incentivize people purchasing those tickets earlier. And so we have, let me get our link for our delegation. It's not so much a delegation application, but one of the things that we're doing is we want to collect information about the delegations. We want to know where folks are coming from so that we can connect them with each other. Maybe there's people who are coming from the same bioregion, they just don't know it yet. They don't know that there's somebody else from their bioregion coming. So we want to collect information. We also want to feature delegations on our website and social media to just kind of get the word out here. There's people coming from your bioregion. That's exciting, you know? And so we're using that term delegation really loosely, also in the spirit of, oh, we gotta mute things. Um, in the spirit of also reclaiming the context of the word Congress, I think reclaiming the context of the word delegate and delegation doesn't have to be something that we associate with, say, like the United States government, right? It's something that we can associate with our ability to come together and self-govern and intergovern, and connect, and represent. So, yeah, delegation, we're using that term pretty loosely. And I will grab that delegation. We're calling it a delegation application link, but it's just kind of like a way for us to collect info about delegations who are coming. And then you can reach out to us and get that delegation discount code, if you're coming
Right.
with
If you fill out
a
the
group.
form, we'll receive your interest and then we can send you the code.
Yeah, that's a good way to do
Yes.
it. Yeah. Yes. Any other questions about delegations while we're on that topic?
I guess hearing that you want to feature info for those of us who already registered multiple people from one bioregion, would you
Yeah.
want us to like
Yes.
identify ourselves as a delegation? And
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And if
That would
you
be really great.
Yeah, and if you are a delegation, you paid that 575 rate, but you would appreciate, we can figure that out. We can talk about that, you know. I will get that link right now. Okay. Here it is. And then I see some questions about transit. Okay, there's that in the chat. I see a question about transit, and then I also see Will Masters has a hand up. Let me just address Steve's question from the chat around airfare support. So, Steve, are you asking about scholarship money, to assist with travel costs for participants? Is that the question? I'm going to assume yes. So, we have a
I'm
limited,
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah, that would be the question, I
what's the
guess.
question?
Yeah.
We have limited scholarship funds. We are still fundraising, and there will be a sort of crowdfunding campaign that we're going to be rolling out pretty soon. So you'll start seeing some messaging around that. We have a donor match situation that we're really, really excited about. And so the more we can fundraise, the more we can have scholarships. Right now, our scholarship funds are exhausted. And so if we can build our scholarship fund back up, then we will make those an application process available for that. Right now, though, we just don't have any access funds to distribute. So one way to try to lower the cost is to try to maybe carpool with people from your area, or just band together. Hilo is a good place to self-organize, things like that, mutual aid. But I know it doesn't like change the cost of airfare, which is a lot right now. But yeah, thanks for the question. Claire, where do you want to go next?
We could have Will share.
Yeah, so if we're coming and we're planning to camp, presumably we need like our own arrangements, like we need a tent, sleeping bag. Yes.
Yes, everything you need to be comfortable camping. I personally have a bit of a like glamping setup where I have a foam pad that I like a little better than my like backpacking thing. But
Right.
yeah,
So like come prepared, basically.
yeah, BYO camping gear. And there is also a camping gear spreadsheet that I can share in the chat here in a sec. And we have it posted on Hilo. And this is like a gear share, like a mutual aid gear share if people are flying in from far away. And maybe there's people locally who have gear that they can lend. There's also some gear rental resources in the Portland area that I've listed. In case you're coming from far away and it's not realistic to bring like, a tent and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Yeah, yeah, we'll be flying in, and
Yeah.
yeah, and so is it going to be like rainy? It shouldn't get too cold, shouldn't get too hot.
And then Pacific Northwest, like I feel like rain can happen anytime, but this is going to be a pretty ideal time in terms of like dryness and weather. I would prepare for some rain, like bring a rain fly, bring a raincoat, like, bring layers. Really just
Yeah.
depends. It's
Yeah,
hard
we'll
to
have to
predict
be
now with climate
prepared.
change.
Yeah, we'll have to be prepared for any extreme, and we'll definitely be checking the 10-day forecast and communicating with everyone depending on how it's looking. Um, but yeah, it'll be rain or shine, and there are plenty of covered spaces, indoor spaces. So we will collectively prepare and take care of all of us as we gather. Cool. I see a hand from uh, Hotlum, Eco Regeneration Camp. Do you want to go first, and then we'll go to
Yeah,
Leilani after?
yeah, I'm really thrilled that you're offering so much information, especially for people traveling from afar. I'm wondering about alternative forms of transportation. Um, there's been questions about flying, but like if people want to take a train, is there information about the nearest train station? Is there going to be any shuttling? We're offering that if people need a place to stay on the way driving from the south, they can stop over here. We're about 5 hours from Portland,
Hmm.
down south.
Wow.
Um, and you mentioned van camping, but like ride sharing, is there a ride share board? Just
Yeah.
info on, and is there a link that we can get for alternative transit? And can we, offer a place to stop over?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I just put the mutual aid carpool spreadsheet on in the chat. That also has a tab. If you navigate to the tabs on the bottom of that spreadsheet, like a big list of sort of Portland area, mostly focused on the air, coming from the airport though, transit options for people to like key into. Here's a shuttle I can book. And then here's also on this other tab of the spreadsheet, all the other people who are flying into, say, Portland Airport at the same time as me, and let me connect with them. So it's very much like a DIY mutual aid kind of situation in terms of organizing collective transit to and from the Congress. But I love the way you're thinking. And I think as we move forward utilizing that high-low space, making channels for hey, here are people who are offering a place to stop over. Like I was actually, you're in Shasta. I live in Sonoma. Shasta is halfway between Sonoma and Vernonia. And I was looking at Shasta and I was thinking, I wonder if there's anybody coming to the Congress who I could just like camp on their land for a night on my way up, because it just makes sense to do that, to split that drive up. So we're all thinking in the same direction. And I think Hilo is going to be where we're really organizing that and utilizing these spreadsheets that we've created.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, that's our
we
online
have 100.
space.
I was just going to say, in response to Lily, we have 120 acres that on the
Amazing.
slopes of Mount Shasta, there's some camping availability.
Cool. Yeah, that's great.
Incredible. So if you
Thank
do
you.
join the Hilo space, that would be amazing to post as an offer. And you can say like, hey, I'm offering my land as this waypoint for people. And so that's how you can get the word out to the other participants. That's a really generous offer. Thank you.
And Shai is here and wants to make an introduction. I also see Leilani, your hand is up. Let's maybe take Leilani's question and then we'll go to Shai and have her introduce herself.
Sounds good.
Okay, thanks. Hi, Shaid. This might be related, actually. I got a chance to chat with Shaid the other day, and it's about the Indigenous colleagues, members of our delegation here in the South Coast bioregion. And it's kind of back to the scholarship question. Um, we had originally applied for a scholarship potentially for this group to come, um, and the scholarship funds are exhausted, which we totally understand. But I'm wondering about, like, I know the scholarship was very generously including some travel reimbursement. But we've just been a little bit slowed down, to be honest, in our group organizing process around wanting to identify exactly who would go, which we're not clear on yet. There's at least one for sure, but two or three others that are maybe, so we didn't feel ready to prepare a whole delegation application. And then also we talked amongst ourselves of like, well, if the registration could be complimentary for our Indigenous members, could we just focus on fundraising for travel? So I wanted to run all that by you and see, yeah, any thoughts there?
Yeah, that's wonderful. And I know you're gonna send an email and we can continue the conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, we would want to make that work, and I think there is flexibility in terms of being able to offer a ticket, even if we can't offer the travel reimbursement.
Okay.
Um,
Great.
but let's discuss. We will discuss.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
And let's bring in Shair. Hi, Shair. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I also want to mention that we're also working on more funding for the Indigenous program. So that's to be determined in the future. And yeah, so there may be more support coming. So before I introduce myself, I kind of want to understand who I'm talking to. So are you all people who are interested in coming? Is everybody registered? Or are these people that just have questions about it to decide if they want to come?
It's
Or
a
is
mix.
everybody already on board?
It's a mix.
All of the above.
Yeah.
Okay. For those of you who are comfortable, it'd be pretty sweet to see your faces for a moment while I introduce myself. Um, yeah, so Shai ayachet ki gushihit ayaha nakahiri klakwan kwandach ayachet. Mm, I'm called Shai. That's my name. I'm of the killer whale single dorsal fin clan of the eternal village of Klakwan, or Duckla Lady. And I'm residing on Sklallam and Chimicum lands. And I am your Indigenous program director, and I'm happy to join you all in this co-creative experience. Happy to answer questions related to the Indigenous program, but my priority is to help uplift and co-create this movement with you all while really amplifying and highlighting our Indigenous people's voices as stewards of these lands and ancestral stewards of these ancient sacred lands. And these are our family. So when we talk about the Hashagun Ani, the Hashagun Ani, the ancestors, the land ancestors, we refer to them as our ancestors. Like, so all of the beings that are here, the trees and every single plant is considered our living ancestor embodied. And so, yeah, I'm excited to engage with you in these ancient ways with our ancient teachings from our diverse Turtle Island, Buffalo Island peoples. And the program is we're getting it rolling. I'm going to start collaborating more and more with our Indigenous populations. And yeah, happy to answer any questions if there are any. But one of my priorities also is to really talk about specifically women's and matriarchs' voices in this movement, and especially among our Indigenous populations. But yeah, what is the role of the feminine or feminine identified people in bioregional developments? Yeah, and protection of our sacred Mother Earth. So yeah, nice to meet you all. It's good to see you, and I'm sure I'm gonna see more of you guys soon. Hmm. Oh yeah, I saw that. I did see that question about that. I did want to make a brief comment. Uh, Somebody said, "Are the meals vegan or vegetarian? If so, how are people accustomed to meat best to prepare?" And I think it's so important. I want to just make a little note on this. So a lot of my work is centered on ecofeminism, or what I refer to as spiritual indigenous ecofeminism. It's a mouthful. And I do practice a vegan, plant-based lifestyle, indigenous as much as possible, localized, foraged as much as possible. And I'm not going to go into a huge talk, which I could do, but I just want to point out that I think it's really, really important. This is specifically to Lily and Claire as well, that in our heart dreaming to restore and protect the sacred, we really need to consider our relationships to all of our kin, all of our non-human relatives, every single one of them, small and large. And for me, the current food systems are just completely anti-indigenous and completely unsustainable. And so for me, my indigeneity is contextualized to the current conditions in which we exist, which I think actually demand a large degree of veganism. So I know that's a hard pill to swallow for probably most of us here, but I did want to make a little note on that, and I support whoever might have that inclination or question around that. I just want you to know I fully support the plant based where as much as we can. Yeah.
Yeah, food is a huge topic for bioregionalism, for gatherings, for wellness, for being okay in a space, feeling welcome in a space, feeling belonging in a space. And it was a big thing that we were looking at when we were looking at sites, because catering is really expensive and the kind of food that we want to be sharing together and eating. And also, we don't necessarily have time during the Congress to prepare ourselves because we're doing other things, right? It makes a huge difference. So we are really happy with Camp Cedar Ridge. They have lots of different like vegetarian, vegan options, gluten-free, options. And I think it will be probably mostly vegetarian based because of the amount of people who are vegetarian, but there will be meat options for people who need those. There are still people who need that. Um, and and it's going to be as local as possible. It's hard to feed that many people fully local. It's really hard. It's a dream. It's the goal, and also the logistics of economy and food scarcity and transport and all that. These are all things that we need to be talking about at the Congress, right? And so um, we are happy with where we landed with this, with who's going to be making the food and what the food is going to be like. And there will also be lots of room for conversations around it. So we welcome that. Maybe that doesn't need to like take over the rest of our time with this, but I think it's a good thing to be thinking through. And it is something that has been a core value of ours. Not necessarily veganism, but the thinking about where is the food coming from? What is the participation? What are we what are we supporting and how are we coming together in a good way around food? So
Yes, and many of the organizers are ourselves land stewards and food growers and tenders. Um, I want to share about the schedule. And Lily, would you be open to sharing your screen and showing that
yeah,
graphic?
I have so many tabs open.
If you can
Yeah, is it
find
gonna be
it.
hotter? So I think like be outside. Like we need to be outside as much as possible in the morning. And I don't know how to make these afternoons better. Like we can move like Lego table in
Oh,
here.
I think, Will, are you meaning to talk to
I'm so
us right now?
sorry.
Oh, that's
No,
okay.
you're fine.
Yeah.
No worries. I'm gonna put you on mute. We're good. Okay.
Okay, while you're pulling that up, I'll just start sharing about yeah, what the schedule looks like. So the event begins on Tuesday, September 15th, with arrival time in the afternoon. So just there's a big window and folks can arrive and start setting up your spaces. And we'll have a welcome dinner. Um, I think I have the tab actually, if
Why
that's
is it?
easier,
Yeah,
Lily.
I'm for some reason it's not pulling up so that I can share it.
I don't know how to share
Don't
Canva.
know why that is. Sorry, everybody. Let me just download it real quick and then I'll share it in a different way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so yes, arrival on between 2 and 5 roughly on the 15th, and then departure aiming for 11 departure on Saturday the 19th. And some work traders may have shifts that start a little bit before that or a little bit after that. So that's the main window, and we really want everyone to do their very best to be there the whole time because we're going to be creating this container together, and we're going to go on a whole journey as a group together. So as much as people can be there the whole time, that's really important. Um,
Okay, I'm ready.
there, oh yeah, do you need sharing permission or?
Probably do. Yeah.
Hmm. You are a co-host.
Okay. Oh, then I don't. Um, Sorry, I'm having like Mercury's almost retrograde. I'm
This is
having
so
tech
unlike you, Lily.
issues. I know it really is. You. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's see what happens. Play from start. Okay. Are you guys seeing
Yes,
screen? Okay, here we
we're seeing it.
go. I don't know what happened. Something happened with the formatting. Okay. Well, it didn't
I
like
want to go back to
download
the circles
properly.
after the schedule.
Okay. Some of this formatting it got messed up somehow when I just downloaded this. But here's the schedule. Is that what you wanted to look at?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, because I just want to give everyone a sense of like what we're going to be doing together.
great.
Um, so we're going to be gathering in different ways throughout this event, and there's a lot of room for emergence and responsiveness, like I was mentioning before. Um, One of the practices we're going to do is called talking circles, which have been part of all the past congresses as well. And that is a time when small groups will gather, and those groups will be the result of a randomized process, but it'll be the same group throughout the whole gathering. And that's an opportunity for cross-pollination among people coming from different bioregions. So you're going to get a card when you check in and register, and that card will be for your group, which will be a one of the species of Cascadia, like your raven, your cedar, your orca, etc. And then you'll gather with your group to have these conversations in the morning to start surfacing what's happening where you are on your land, sharing what you're up to, hearing from others what's alive for them, and just starting to weave that web of relationship. Then we will have some space, and by the way, all of this is subject to a little bit of adjustment as we go. But we will have spaces for a few curated presentations slash workshops. We're not going to do too many of those. That's kind of like your classic conference content. But that will be based on what the participants are most interested in learning about and hearing about. There was a poll I posted recently on Hilo with about 14 different potential topics, and that is still open if anyone wants to weigh in who hasn't yet. But that is one of the main things steering us towards selecting what presentations we do spotlight. So far, it looks like people are really interested in hearing about bioregional governance, indigeneity, um, elements of like sacred ecology and land tending. And there's so many more, but that's going to help us prioritize. So I recommend going in the Hilo group and voting. And then we have this group convergence time in the afternoons and yeah, each day of the Congress. And that is when the whole group is invited to gather and be in conversation, all of us, which will be held by skilled facilitation. So do not worry. But that will be a time when we can do collective sense making as a whole group about what is needed at this time, what's important, what matters to us about this movement and its future, and what do we think needs to be prioritized, both as we think about going out into the future and returning to our home bioregions, but also just in the conversations during the Congress. So we will collectively prioritize what we want to be turning our attention to as a group. And then we'll have topic circles the next morning on Thursday morning um, based on that. So whatever is coming top of mind for the whole group, we're going to be receiving that and then collectively saying, okay, so tomorrow morning we're going to have sessions about X, Y, and Z because that's what everyone wants to talk about. So you can see this is going to be a very dynamic event and really driven by the people who are there in the room. Other things I want to share, we're going to have open space on Thursday, and I think we'll try to do for longer than what is on here, but that means it's participant-led content. There will be a giant pinboard, and anyone who wants to offer a session, a presentation, can put up your card saying, the name of your offering, the description, where you're going to be on the land, and what time. And folks can distribute and go to these sessions and learn directly from each other. So if you have something you want to share, present on your work, that's one of the main opportunities. And we know everyone coming has something to transmit. Will be other opportunities as well, like bioregional reports on Wednesday night. Um, and also just during the convergences will be a time for people to share a little bit about what they're up to and what matters to them. And then it'll all kind of lead up to on Friday, we'll have a big session where we settle on our bioregional action plan or toolkit, where we've done all this work to sense make together over the course of the event together. And we'll try to distill like what feel like the highest priorities for all of us who are gathered. And for each of these areas, we'll have like, what does action in that sphere look like? What steps could you take to get started? Who are the experts here in this room, in this community, who can support you with that? So, for example, if rights of nature is one of those topics, we could have all of the experts in earth law and indigenous law be listed under that item, steps to get started, examples of successful campaigns. And so if you want to go home to your bioregion and start a rights of nature campaign, you will have the resources you need and you will be in touch with the people who can help you succeed. And that's a very, very powerful thing. So that's when I say that we want to really operationalize this movement, that's kind of what it is leading towards. Um, there's going to be lots of other good stuff like embodiment, dancing, the all species ball on Friday night. Bring your animal costumes. We're going to throw down. And then the other nights, there will be open mic and cultural sharing. So if you want to share a song or a dance or a story or your bioregional stand-up routine, you can do that. We want you to do that. There will be a play on Friday called The Animals Lawsuit Against Humanity. And then lots of other fun things from the arts circle. There will be moments of ceremony and ritual that the ceremony circle is planning. I know we'll have a work that reconnects facilitation of some kind. There are many work that reconnects facilitators coming, and that is just super relevant to this. So in summary, it's taking shape, but this is the general shape that it is taking. And everyone's contributions are really welcome and invited. So Lily, if you can go to this slide with the circles. Um, there's a couple main organizing circles that are forming. And the best way to plug in is by showing up in the high-low space, and there's a chat channel for each of them. And yes, Stephen, I can share the link again for that. The join link is again in the chat. So these are some of the biggest areas. There's probably other circles that can and will get spun up. But these are some of the active ones right now. accessibility, just making sure everything about this is accessible for various needs, the art circle, the ceremony circle, programming, if you just have a lot of thoughts about like how we do the facilitation of it all. Facilitators, we're definitely collecting our facilitators because we'll need a team that is aligned and prepared for things. Wellness, fundraising, always a need. Outreach and diversity, and just like getting the word out to all kinds of different folks that are representing Turtle Island that we want to be in this room and in this conversation. So those are some of the biggest ones. And if those are exciting to you, definitely come into the chat channels on Hilo and introduce yourself and say what you're interested in. Um, and if you have other ideas about things you want to contribute or do or see at the Congress, again, you can just share that in the main chat channel in the Hilo group, and then we can have a whole conversation around it. And not just the organizers, but everyone, because again, this is co-created. The organizing team is really just trying to hold this container in service to the movement. So it's really all about what we all want to do together. Yes. And yeah, so we can stop sharing and we can open it up for again for any questions. Um, I'm gonna respond to Hafida. Yeah, okay, the session topics be co-created but facilitators provided? Yeah, that's a great question. And we have not figured it all out yet. But I think what I'm seeing is that based on who's registering, that's shaping what we think can unfold, really. So we're not as much going out to like superstar celebrities in the movement or whatever and like begging them to come grace us with their presence. It's really just more about who wants to be in this room and looking at the expertise of those people. So we're tracking who's registering and what their expertise is. And so we know like, okay, rights of nature is my like perennial example, but like, okay, like we know who the rights of nature people are. So we're going to be in conversation with them about like, hey, you might be called on, we might need you to step in and hold space for this topic. So be prepared for that. And then those people might, like a small group of people who are experts in that thing, might be given that space if that's what the group says they want. Um, and I would see it as more, not like a panel, but like a co-created session, facilitated hopefully by experts in that topic. And then with our facilitation team, maybe we'd be able to say, like, here's three trained facilitators who can support you in holding the space, and you can give your teaching, and then we can have a conversation as a group and learn about this together. So yeah, we're gonna have to be very nimble. Our facilitation will have to be very tight. These are not easy ways to run an event. Um, Unpredictable things could happen. There could be tension. And that is something that we are also planning for. We have a community team. Havita is part of our community team, that many of whom are trained in de-escalation and conflict exploration. So we are aware that things can come up in these types of conversations, and we're planning for that. Um, and indeed, that can even be productive and generative. Um, but yeah, we're all going to be going into kind of a chrysalis together, and it's a little bit mysterious. Um, but if we all have faith in this process, we're going to make our way through together. And I think some really powerful conversations can happen. Yes. Pam.
Hey, first, thank you so much for doing this work. It's changed my life. And just for anybody who hasn't been part of these small talking circles, I mean, literally met somebody, one of the six people in 1992, and it changed my life. Like I moved to Mexico because of it. So just a, yeah, so positive. Um, is there a way to get a hold of you privately? I'm looking at the Hilo website and I don't see a place for private messages for questions.
There are DMs. If it's like a
DMs, thank you.
yes, totally.
Digital image.
If you're on the web, it's on the top left. There's like a little chat icon. Yes, anyone can send me a direct message or Lily or anyone on the organizing team. If it's a question that isn't too personal and you think others might benefit from it, I encourage you just to ask in the main chat. Um, but I'm happy to answer DMs or email or the general email for the whole organizing team. I'm putting in the chat info at tibc11.earth. Yes.
So that's for the whole team. That's
I mean, that's going to be me or Lily primarily checking that. Yes.
great. Thank you.
So whatever is best for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And I see two Michigan people, but I can't I hit the map and it didn't it didn't show me who the other person is. What am I missing?
Oh, on the map in the Hilo group?
Yeah.
Yes, I will plug that everyone should join the Hilo group and put your location on your profile. It doesn't have to be your exact location, but then you will show up on the map in our group, and then we can see who is around us.
Um,
So
and
if you're,
we were just talking about this actually in our organizers circle meeting this morning that we are going to put post some how to access the map, how to find your bioregional co-delegates, or just people near you. So we will be posting that maybe like a little video tutorial or like a little like screenshot infographic. Um, yeah. So stay tuned for that. And we also want to create more spaces in Hilo for people to connect with their co-bioregion people too. So we're thinking in the same direction. And yeah, there's definitely going to be pool time and slip and slide time is a big deal. We have to book the slip and slide people ahead of time. Slip and slide is a supervised event by camp staff because apparently it is massive and
it's like 100 feet long.
yeah, going down this big hill. So there will definitely be slip and slide time. There will definitely be pool time with lifeguards. I don't know if you noticed in the program, but we tried to leave some spaciousness between things, partly because of the site and needing time to move from place to place, but also just because like there just needs to be those interstitial spaces can be so rich and so fruitful, and there just needs to be a little bit of space. So it's hard because you want to pack every possible thing into a schedule, but those transition times, those interstitial spaces, slip and slide time, pool time, hanging out on the lawn time are super, super rich and important too. So if
Yeah,
anybody
thank
has
you.
a way to like expand time, that would be cool.
Um, I'm going to respond to Steve's question in the chat, and then I think we'll need to wrap up. But I saw Steve asked if I can't make it, will there be ways to plug in during or after? So that's a really important question. We've made a really conscious, intentional choice to make this not be a hybrid event. So there will not be a virtual component. We're going to prioritize the in-person participants so that we can just have a really grounded, low to no tech experience. Um, However, there will absolutely be ways to be connected with what's happening um, before and after. So you are absolutely welcome to be in the Hilo community. That's going to keep going. It's active now. It's going to keep going after the event as our main organizing hub so that as we're taking the work and implementing it locally, we can keep the conversation going with each other. It's really important. And so you're welcome to be a part of that, whether or not you end up attending in person. We will do a recap call where we share and present about like what it was like, what came up, what emerged in the toolkit. So we'll do a report back. And so anyone can come to that. And so you'll be able to receive some of the teachings that we came away with. We will be publishing that bioregional action toolkit. We will also be doing some amount of video. Not everything is going to be videoed, but we will at least capture for documentation and archival purposes video. And then some of it we might end up publishing as educational resources, like the things that are more like presentational and less like the conversations. So there will be learning resources that come out of this that people can benefit from because we definitely want these learnings and skills and tactics to be spreading as widely as they can. Um, yeah, I think those are the main things. Oh, and then finally, there will be a publication called The Proceedings that will be published both online and in print. And all of the previous congresses had the proceedings. They're these amazing books, these artifacts, so incredible, full of art and poetry. Like a really like thorough publication all about what happened. And so we'll do that as well, and that will be available for anyone to take in. So there's plenty of ways to feel connected and be connected, even if you don't make it. Yeah, and I know we're a little over time, so anyone that needs to drop off, go ahead and do so. And thank you for being here. Stephen, we can take your question and then we'll wrap.
Thanks, Claire. You mentioned video. I just wanted to say if you need any help with that or visual arts and design, I'm happy to help with anything like
Amazing.
that. But thank
Yes.
you everyone for your time.
Yeah,
Yes,
join the
definitely.
documentation circle in Hilo if you want to help with note taking, just like recording what's happening, making art making on site.
Yes,
If you want to
we need
draw
that.
what's happening or paint what's happening on site, we would love to document that, write poetry about your experience, all this. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's really like we really want to honor the fullness of everyone's expression
Yeah.
who decides to be a part of this. So, yeah, that's very welcome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. I hope this was helpful. If any additional questions come up, you can ask them in Hilo or you can email us. Um, yeah, we are here to collaborate, and we hope you'll be joining us in September.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everybody. Thanks,
Okay, yeah,
Claire.
Thanks,
blessings all.
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.